Hi everyone, my name is Melanie Meehan. I wrote a book called Every Child Can Write. I blog for two writing teachers, and I am also the district writing coordinator in Simsbury, Connecticut. Um, in that position, as we think about distance learning, I've been asked a lot about grammar and conventions, so I have some thoughts to share about that. I'm going to just share my screen. This shouldn't be a very long presentation, but hopefully you'll come out of this with some ideas on how you can really support your child as we think about grammar and conventions. So one of the things that I just really want to emphasize is the power of talk as we're using grammar and conventions. This sort of aligns with the power of play that I'll talk about later, but we can really think about talk and insert grammar and conventions into our conversations with children, exclamation point. They think that's funny, exclamation point. You can really have a good time with this, comma, and you can teach them important elements of conventions and grammar, period. I'm hoping that makes sense, period. Does it, question mark? In any case, you kind of get the idea. You can start using those conventions in your talk just in a silly kind of a way. Kids love it, and they start to build their awareness of conventions in a powerful way. So that's one thing. Another is the power of intent. And when I say that, this blends into not giving kids too many things to think about and work on with their grammar and conventions, but giving them just the things that they're working on. So if they're working on spelling a certain bunch of words, just having them work on those words. If they're working on just end punctuation or just capitalization of names, having those goals right there front and center for them. Maybe they have a checklist, maybe they have a goal sheet. It's not everything, and we don't want kids to try to do everything all at once. It's that they have an intent on specific elements of grammar and conventions. That sometimes can really, really help them. So again, not everything. Writing doesn't have to be perfect for our young writers. It has to be that they are working on something specific and doing it as they write. It's not even a step in the process. They are capitalizing their words as they write, if that is one of their goals. So we also have the power of purpose. This is one of my favorites. So we can teach kids the power that punctuation has when we use it. We can show them how we can be powerful with exclamation points and control our readers, or powerful with ellipses, controlling our readers, powerful with periods so that we make our readers stop. So the more that we can impart on our young writers that their punctuation and their conventions have a power and a purpose for readers, the more they will embrace them and work on using them. The power of play. Conventions can be really playful. You can, again, think about how you want to inject periods or question marks or ellipses or dashes or any kind of thing into sentences and get really silly with them. So, the classic one is, let's eat grandma. With a comma, it's let's eat grandma. Without the comma, grandma's got a problem because she may get eaten. But when we can start showing them the power of punctuation in playful ways like that, that really gets them silly, and they begin to like grammar and conventions instead of dread it. And then finally, I'm just going to show you how we can use transition words to think about grammar and conventions, because transition words, and I have them listed over here, you have different transition words for different purposes, whether it's explaining information, adding information, contrasting information, right? Number one, they get kids to write more. Number two, they get kids to write fluently. But number three, they get kids to think about their punctuation and their conventions, because almost every single one of these starts a new sentence. So if we're using a transition phrase, we almost are always having a period come just before it, or and then punctuation mark, and a capital letter to begin with it. It's not an always thing. I mean, certainly there are times when we use these words in the middle of sentences, but it's a really, really nice red flag for kids to lean on as they're learning how to use their punctuation and have correct sentencing. So I hope this helped. It is, again, it's not the be all and end all of how to get kids using grammar and conventions, but there's some really good quick tips to help kids internalize and then use those important elements of writing as they write and as they grow up, being important sharers of all of that's in their head and share their ideas. So all good things.